Streaming from Madison, Wisconsin and Minneapolis, Minnesota. Straight to your personal devices. Available on all major platforms and YouTube. This is the Armchair Analysts Podcast. And here are your hosts, Ace and Johnny.
Welcome back, everybody. Happy to have everyone here. Another episode of Armchair Analysts with your hosts. You already know us, Ace and Johnny. Ace, best man speech. We heard it was fantastic. How was the experience overall, being front and center right there with your boy?
I thought it was amazing. I fumbled the words to start off with, but I put in a nice little dodge or a little dig, I guess you could say, at Rodgers becoming a Viking next year, if all things go as planned, like, you know, according to Favre 2.0, as everyone's talking about. So speech went well. Wedding it was cool. We were under a tent. The wedding obviously was outdoors of the ceremony, but nice venue. Got to see a few college friends, which was always fun. And speech went well. I think I gave it a B. Because I wrapped a cute little bow up on it. But yeah, it was good actually talking to you in last week's episode in the Rant, just to kind of like, well, yeah, because you've been there, done that. And,
getting the gears turning a little bit?
Yeah.
Sure. All right.
So what about you, though? You had an interesting, I guess it wouldn't be a weekend, but Game 6?
Game 6 was a euphoric experience. I know as we were getting in there, a lot of us were pretty nervous. I mean, honestly, like it was nice just to, what's my motto? Butts and seats. It was nice just to see people. They're 90% capacity. It was very weird that they insisted that we wear masks in there. That was kind of weird.
Oh my, I guess I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, so I just had a beer in my hand the whole time, so I was constantly drinking. It worked out pretty well. But no, that was a fantastic game. The emotion was high. People were pretty rabid. That's probably my favorite adjective to use for a fan base
district.
during a live game. Deer District looked like fucking ground zero with beer cans. Like, I mean, they closed off most of the bars nearby. Like, it was very hard just to get a beer, let alone find a place to sit. So a lot of fun. Got to see a couple of my groomsmen. So good times. And then obviously, you know, we got to carry that momentum into Game 7. We had a brief drunken sidebar where we're trying to like look and pick flights and see if we can make it to Brooklyn for Game 7 , but logistically and financially, we were riding that momentum wave. We were riding it and realized that, you know, maybe dropping $3,500 for 36 hours maybe not be the most financially responsible decision. So turned that down, had a couple more drinks, chilled out for a bit, and then went our ways. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. But we can get into that a little bit later. So
sure. This
week's show, I mean, you made it sound like it was gonna be this dynamic, crazy show, but it's.
I'm kind of pumped.
I'm pumped too, but like it's nothing crazy. We'll do my random rant, regional roundup. I don't think Ace has nothing probably good to say for the regional segment.
Not on the Minnesota side, sadly.
No. The other side of the Mississippi thing's going a little bit better, but I know you want to talk about the MLB All-Star weekend, which is coming up. Clip of the week featuring your boy Durantula. I was kind of worried hearing the Nets post-game pressers, but they were all very... I mean, surprisingly, I thought they had pretty good sportsmanship overall, but we'll dig into that. And I did not want to do this as our tee-off topic. I did not, but like I feel like I have to address it because it's imminent and it's starting to grow on me. Like I have a busy summer and this guy is not making things better. Just want to talk about the likelihood of Rodgers not returning. I know that I've been in super denial, but like we're coming. It's not necessarily coming to a head, but it's to the point where even I'm going, this might be a thing.
And let's be honest, we could talk about Rodgers every single week if we wanted to, but frankly, it's just like it just gets nauseating, so it's not even worth it. So this will be fun.
I don't even watch ESPN or anything. Yep. I don't listen to ESPN radio, nothing. I just nope. I get the evil push notifications. I'll check out some articles, but most of my sources are Twitter and sports podcasts. So, all right. Speaking of podcasts, that's kind of where my random rant generates from. So so obviously we've been doing this podcast for a while. Obviously I've been interested in podcasts for a while, but it's not only the sports sector that has my attention because I work in web design and digital marketing. I do have to pay attention to trends. So I listen to quite a few digital marketing podcasts, and one of them had a very, very interesting tidbit, which I've heard something similar in the past where, Facebook users, they spend X amount of time, and Instagram people spend X amount of time on their platform, Twitter, yeah, whatever. At one point, I think this is probably maybe probably more like 3-ish years ago, long before COVID, not long before, but a couple years before COVID. I remember like the baseline stat being that, Instagram users are going through their feed about 3 times longer than people are on Facebook, which blew my mind because people are on Facebook a lot, right? Like when there's a lot of bad news, it's called doom scrolling because you're looking at all this horrible, terrible news, and there's nothing good no benefit really to reap from it. But as of a few weeks ago, more stats have come out, and now TikTok users are using that application 3 times more than Instagram users. So we see it kind of tearing up, and that's like, wow. Like, and I realize that a lot of people, that it's an unconventional platform. They don't think that they can synergize with whatever their marketing goals or their business goals are. But I mean, the way that you can segment your reach, it's very powerful. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty of people that just do stupid shit on it. I mean, I'm sure we've all seen some, whether you're a TikTok user or not, if you're on Reddit or Twitter enough, you're definitely going to see them pop up. But there's more practical uses out there.
Yeah.
To the point where I think it's time for Ace maybe to start our TikTok channel.
No.
Oh, it's happening.
I will never get on TikTok because it is supported by the Chinese party. They're the platform that built TikTok. I'm sorry, listeners, I will not support TikTok at all.
All right, maybe I'm gonna have to do it then.
No, please. Can I just say quick, at the friend's wedding, his stepson, whenever there was a dull moment, whenever he wasn't asked to do something, this kid is 9 or 10, has a cell phone. Every single time he was on scrolling on TikTok, it was like, I'm talking hours at a time.
Yeah.
He'd just be like sitting down in a corner, and I'm like, what are you doing? Multiple people asked him, what are you doing? What are you on right now? TikTok? Oh, you're watching TikTok? Oh, you're watching
crazy, man. I'm not making these stats up. Like, it's legit. I mean, don't get me wrong, like Instagram stories or all the other stuff that they do, I get the appeal, but like TikTok is like a whole nother beast. Like one of our senior designer actually, who's done some of the artwork, I'm not going to say what, but she even like openly admits like she had to delete TikTok off her phone because it was just such a time suck. And you don't even notice it. Like you're there just checking out a couple of things, and all of a sudden like it's an hour plus later. Like, that is crazy, which, I mean, it's just such a strong platform. I'm not, advocating it at all. I'm just saying as a tool for marketing or whatever, it's a biggie, and it's not going away. Like it's only getting monetized better now. I mean, you see what Snapchat's done for business now. I mean, TikTok's going to find. I mean, that's kind of what they do. They have like a proof of concept, they get everybody into it, and then they start monetizing it for businesses and other practices. So wow, that had nothing to do with anything sports related ish, but I mean that's my
It's a random rant.
It's pretty effing random.
I implore listeners to watch The Social Dilemma on Netflix if you haven't, in terms of like social media impact and how they're literally, people are paid to sit there and try to feed up different ads or different content so that they keep the users on their platform. It's pretty.
Not only that, but like just it's crazy how just even like the notification systems are literally created just to kind of trigger certain reactions in our brain to make us want to look at these things more often. Yeah, I've never been happier to not have the Facebook app on my phone. I'll tell you that. Anyways,
you want me to set up TikTok? Oh God,
it will. We'll have our content marketing guy do that. It's fine.
We'll talk. Yeah.
That's me. So I think we need to, I don't know. I really, this is such a sad story. Like
should we
start
go ahead, Vikings news?
Yeah. So
Okay.
There's not a whole lot going on over in Minnesota. I mean, Aaron refuses to address the Twins. He hates the manager. He said he's never going to go. If you missed last week's episode, I highly recommend you at least listen to his part where he's blowing up the Twins and everything that they've done recently. But the Vikings, though, I mean, go ahead. Oof, that's intense.
Well, so the guy they picked, the same, he was the 6th round draft pick, 199th pick, same as Tom Brady. So at the time, I lauded him.
Oh, that's your boy. That's
yes,
right.
I lauded him as a Hall of Famer. Jalen Twyman, whatever. Jalen Twyman, that 6th round draft pick, was involved in a shooting, I guess, over the weekend in D.C. He was visiting family or something like that, and ended up, while he was apparently still in the car, I don't know if it was a drive-by or what, but ended up getting shot 4 times, still in the hospital. It sounds like, thankfully, he'll make a full recovery. From just reading Twitter news, Adam Schefter just posted something. Your guy recently.
Stop it.
So did Rap Sheet.
Stop it.
But just kind of scary how quickly somebody's life could literally change like that. Let's say he ends up getting injured, never can play again ever. Like, you don't want to talk about football because clearly the health of him matters more. But at the same time, it's like that I don't know how much of an impact he'll have on the team, but I think just in terms of like depth on the defensive line and the fact that we drafted another defensive end, I think he's going to play D tackle, but we drafted another D end from Pittsburgh too. It's like those two mixed in with our already pretty solid defensive line would have helped a lot. I'm hoping he makes a full recovery here soon so we can get him on the field. But yeah, thoughts and prayers with Jalen here as he recovers and hopefully gets out of the hospital here soon. But just freaking news, especially same. Did you hear about the guy for the Chiefs that, I don't know if it was same day or what, but got arrested for
Frank Clark?
Yeah.
Dude had an Uzi. Dude had an Uzi sitting in his back seat. Like, are you crazy? Okay, so this is like the unofficial kickoff to the NFL season, right? Like, back in the day, we used to do, I can't remember what the group was called, but we would do it was basically a set of prop bets just to see who would have the first arrest, which team. So you'd have a lottery, and you get to draft from the lottery of the 32 teams. And so obviously you're going to want the Bengals, the Raiders, the 49ers, like the big ones. It's like, well, who's going to get arrested first? Not charged, actually arrested. So your boy Frank Clark with the Uzi sitting. And it was probably just some stupid traffic stop too. Yeah, it was probably something dumb. Went through a stop sign or whatever, which not dumb. Like, I mean, you could still hurt somebody like that, so obviously you need to be pulled over. But come on, bro, put your Uzi in the back, put it in the trunk or something. Like,
yeah, seriously, it doesn't make any sense.
That NFL season started, baby. Yeah, I see. Yes, I feel like there's been a decent rash of weapon-related stuff in the NFL just in the last week, it seems. But obviously, these two stories can kind of, get that recency bias, but
yeah.
All right.
No, absolutely.
Are you ready for a little bit better news?
Yeah.
Your Milwaukee Bucks took the Vegas favorite, which we went over last episode.
Which you
Brooklyn
picked.
Nets. I did because they were there, and why not? That's value. But I don't know. It honestly took me a little bit. Like I literally had somebody, someone left at halftime, but I still had somebody over at the end of the game, and he was trying to celebrate. I'm like, no, man, I need to hear that buzzer. I need to know that this is officially official. Because it was literally by the toes of Kevin Durant's feet that we were not defeated. When he made that shot, I was done. And then I looked at the score, I'm like, why?
Everyone was holding their breath collectively, I bet.
Why is it tied? Why is the score tied? I was so confused. And it just stayed there, and I'm like, his toe was on the line. Oh my god! And then they reviewed it, and I'm like, oh my gosh! Like that's not the greatest way to win, but like it's still like even Durant like admitted it's like yeah like I had 2 feet on like so I mean by that slim of a margin, and then the Bucks never scored. They didn't score for like 4 minutes in OT. Granted, the Nets only scored 1 bucket. That's it. They got 2 points. I mean at that point I mean the amount of minutes that those guys were playing. Like,
oh my, What was Durant's? It was what? He played 48 all of game 5. He played like 40 plus game 6, and then 50. He played like all of game 7.
He played 53 minutes. He played every single minute of that game. So did Harden. And then on the they were just so tired. It's like, hey, whoever makes a basket is probably going to win, and the Nets scored first. So I'm like, oh god, like like you could just see, like Giannis had his hands on his hips, hands on his knees. He was exhausted. I think whenever they had a chance, whenever there was thank the Lord it was a nationally televised game, so they had numerous TV timeouts because he just looked gassed. I mean, everybody did, but like him especially. Just trying to conserve his energy just to have a couple drive plays. But yeah, it was intense. And after they actually won, I'm like, okay, now your mind just starts going. It's like, okay, do we want Philly or do we want the Hawks? And you're kind of going through those scenarios. It's like, well, okay, let's say let's see we get past them. It's like, well, I don't really think we can beat the Clippers, and the Suns with CP3 are incredibly formidable, so it's like you're going through all these scenarios like, hold on, let's just enjoy this. Let's just take it in. Chuck, your boy, picked him already to go to the finals. So he was elated, but
it's because he wants that plus 1,000 odds, I guess, whatever they are to win the title.
Now it's definitely changed because this knocking out the Nets, it makes things, I'm not going to say easier, but this is probably the nicest path that they could have, had. Sweeping the Heat, knocking out the favorites. It makes at least for the average fan and casual NBA viewer, it seems like this is probably a pretty damn good path.
I was a little bummed. We had obviously the wedding happened Saturday, so I pretty much watched none of Game 7, which sucked except toward the end of the game when it was like a minute or two left in the fourth quarter and they had it up. Somebody had the game up on their phone, but I was
that would have been me. That's literally me. We were at a baby shower a couple weeks ago, and it was for Game 1. We were at a baby shower, and I'm just sitting there on my phone, just looking like a d-bag. And after everyone left, I'm like, "Hey, can we go inside and maybe put this on?" So, which obviously Game 1 didn't go that great, but they were competitive at least while I was watching, but. Yeah, so
are you happy? Are you more excited they're playing the Hawks, or would you rather number one, I think the 76ers are in a complete turmoil, as you saw. And I think the Hawks, well, I'll let you answer.
Well, I was just saying, like I said, I kind of went through both scenarios. I think honestly, I don't think it really matters. If they can stop Kevin Durant, having some of the greatest postseason games that I've seen in my lifetime. I'm not super worried about Trae Young, although they showed their depth. Like Trae Young got shut down. He did not have a good shooting game. He was passing the ball well, but he did not have a good shooting game. And they still eked out a win against the number 1 seed. Say what you will about Simmons, say what you will about Embiid down the stretch. They knocked out the number 1 seed. So there's no reason to take them lightly. I know a lot of people think that this might be a pretty easy series, but the Bucks are notorious for bad game 1, so even though it's at home, which helps a big deal, I wouldn't be super quick just to say that they got this. So,
Giannis, I like in looking at the way Ben Simmons performed and how they chastised both him and Giannis at the free throw line. You guys got to be happy with the fact that Giannis has confidence to continue to drive or to continue to shoot and to make these plays, because like to have a team member that just completely confidence-wise is absolutely just derailed has to just be incredibly difficult and just almost demoralizing. And you feel for him, but it's like, dude, what do you gotta do something. You can't just
I think he attempted 4 shots in the fourth quarter that whole series or something.
Oh my god!
And watching him pass up an easy layup for a very contested shot, it's like, oh, okay. Like as soon as I saw that, I knew what happened, but my brain just I've never seen an NBA player with an easy bucket just pass it up. So that was ridiculous. But as far as Giannis goes, it's great that he has confidence, but it doesn't. The numbers speak for themselves. So at least I think the Bucks as a team are averaging 69 or 70% from the free throw line. That's not good. Giannis, he actually stepped it up the last game, but for as many trips as he gets to the line, it's never a good feeling. He did shoot I think a lot better in Game 7, but I mean it's literally a game by game basis, so it's not really anything you can take to heart. But that'll be exciting.
Should we get predictions? Should I get your prediction, or do you want to?
Let me just enjoy it, bro.
Just enjoy.
The thing is, it's like, so this is the crazy thing too. So this is something I want to bring up. So, it's nice to see fresh faces. I think we can all agree, seeing them in the finals and later rounds of the playoffs. We can always agree. I mean, because those few years it was LeBron versus whoever the Warriors were putting on the court, for 2-3 years. I mean that's not intriguing to anybody. No one gives a crap about that. Seeing new faces comes with some unprecedented ground. So right now, believe it or not, the Bucks are the only team left in the NBA playoffs that they've won the most recent championship in 1971. So they are the most recent champion left in the playoffs, which just saying that feels weird.
That. Yeah, I gotta. Okay, the Clippers. Yeah, holy crap! Clippers never won.
Clips have never won. Suns have never won. Hawks won their only championship in '58. So like it's weird. You want fresh faces. You got a little bit of parity. You don't have. It's not Lakers and the Warriors and even the Nets. I mean, I understand that they just started that roster, but these are the same players that have been pushing the envelope for years. And now they're gone too. So no matter what, I'm just gonna be excited because I'm used to what's the goal of Wisconsin sports is to build you up just to bring you down. So I'm going to let it ride. If you know what? Maybe after game 1 we can start making some predictions, but right now I just want to savor it.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
It is exciting to have the small market
You're damn right it is. You're damn right it is.
Clippers basically left. So
because LA is very small market. Very tiny.
No, I said outside of the Clippers.
All right, so you're the baseball guy. I've literally been in. The reason why people listen to our show is because we watch all the stuff so that they don't have to. I watched all those games. I'm in NBA mode. Hopefully, you are in baseball mode, so you can tell us a little bit more about the MLB All-Star weekend coming up.
Yeah, it's in a couple weeks here. I believe it's July 13th is the actual game, which means they have festivities taking place leading up before that, but it got me thinking like, okay, if I can't talk about, the Minnesota Twins,
there's something out there for you, buddy.
How are we going to get baseball on the map? Because the more and more you hear news coming out almost weekly with the whole freaking now the scandal with the pitchers and the lack of punishment and all that crap, it's like, well, at the end of the day, you guys aren't doing your jobs at trying to make it engaging for fans. And I think one of the best ways that happens is All-Star Weekend. How many sports you have the absolute best players out there, whether it's the hockey, the shootout, the skills competitions, NBA skills competitions, whatever. I mean, obviously football is a little bit different, but you have these major sports that are able to get the absolute best players out there competing. I know it's sort of changed a little for the slam dunk contest, but like obviously with the 3-point shooting being a huge asset, you're getting Steph Curry, you're getting Klay Thompson, Booker, all like. My thought around this was why doesn't baseball, like they have the softball tournament where it's like the celebrity softball tournament, make that format into like a wiffle ball theme with the absolute best players on the field today in today's games. You want to make it so like it's young and old mixed into teams. Sure. Do something like that if you really want to. But I think at the end of the day, if you want to grow the game, put these stars in the biggest spotlight on the biggest stage, more or less. And it's like, nobody's ever going to see Mike Trout in the playoffs. He hasn't been in the playoffs since he started in the league. So it's like, unless he leads.
Are you talking about the MLB's highest paid player?
Yeah, yes, you are. Never made the playoffs.
Really?
And so it's like,
dang,
maybe once. I don't think he has, honestly.
Interesting.
But the point is, it's like you get them involved in the games. Nobody wants to do the home run derby because it's showing that it freaking screws their swings up in the second half. So you're not going to see these guys participating.
Which is crazy because I remember as a kid, that was the most exciting part.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're pretty dumb as a kid, so anything that can grab your attention, it's like, oh, and then you realize like they're just like lobbing it up, like it's not even a real pitch, like they're just lobbing it up. But
one of my speaking of sports memories, one of my favorite memories was watching at Miller Park the home run derby. I think it was Sosa, They might have had McGuire. Oh crap! I wish I could remember all the. They had huge boppers in that, and they were hitting the ball out of Miller Park Stadium. They were hitting it out of American Fan, whatever it's called, Miller Park back.
They were shit back then. Might have been County Stadium.
Yeah, true. So I thought like get them involved in kind of a low level wiffle ball game where it's like, okay, you're not going to kill the ball, but it's exciting to see these guys with their talents on the field versus obviously playing in the All-Star game. It's a fun way to keep them engaged. You could probably do other fun contests, but I thought, why not a wiffle ball tournament? I mean, when's the last time they probably have hit a wiffle ball in the air? However,
when's the last time you've hit a wiffle ball?
I don't know.
I mean, I get your point. Like, you want to make it more approachable for the average fan. You want to make it more approachable and digestible for kids. You know, segment your marketing towards that to get them excited for it. Put it on Nickelodeon, man. If NFL can do it.
Oh, every home run's like the green.
Sure. I mean, that's a lot of slime. That's a lot of slime. Yeah. I kind of get that feeling because, I mean, I know. I can't remember the last time I actually saw like real statistical data about like the big three. I mean, you got MLB, NBA, and NFL, and I mean, I know that growing up, you know, as '90s in the '90s when you and I were in our heyday playing the game, I mean, baseball was still America's pastime. I mean, there was no question. There was no question at all. I know NFL was rising, NBA was getting more mainstream by the year, but I feel like they've all had numerous setbacks, baseball especially, starting with steroids. And, you know, I don't know if it ever really recovered. And I think even when it was trying to recover, I feel like the other two sports were just kind of steamrolling past them. I mean, I know the NFL's the king no matter what in terms of market share, but I want to say that baseball's really on the outside looking in. We might have brought this up a couple times because I know that, you know, basketball has been kind of hindered just because of, you know, like we talked about. I mean, no one cares to watch the same two teams in the finals year after year. So, but yeah, I feel like baseball, man, they got an uphill battle. Like, it's not going to be easy. But yeah, you're right. You have to get the next generation involved. Otherwise, it's like, it would be insane just to see like the numbers now. I mean, because
viewership and whatnot.
Viewership, but I'm talking like just like general like youth athletics. Like how many kids, you know, on average, are they more likely to, you know, go into like words like NBA, youth baseball, football. Or they're more likely to go play like school football, you know, for their school or whatever. But like, you know, Pop Warner leagues and stuff. Like just seeing like not just like a general, you know, attendance. Where's the interest at right now? Because that's what's going to be, you know, the marker moving forward. If you want to, you know, push the meter over and really start pumping kids and get them excited about baseball, that's what you got to do. And I feel like I agree with you. I feel like it's just it's fun to go to games. I know, like it's cool to, you know, and especially after COVID, like it's a nice treat. But as far as getting them invested and involved in the sport, I mean, that's a whole different thing, right?
Do you remember too? And obviously, fan safety and just player safety in general is important, but remember being able to walk next to the clubhouse, reaching your arm out and being able to get an autograph. Now that they have nets up all around the stadiums, you have no interaction with the players anymore outside of like spring training. So on the one hand, it's like, yeah, it's great that you're emphasizing safety, but I mean, for God's sakes, they didn't have nets for over a century. How long's baseball been around? They didn't have nets for over a century.
So my only counterpoint is going to be that I think that since it's become so easy just to sell these things, like a lot of kids are getting autographs. You know, you get it. It's like it feels so cool. Like, oh, I got an autograph, but like they're flipping those things. You get some of like someone's sneakers. Like when Giannis takes off his clothes at the end of a game and gives away his sneakers and his jersey and all that kind of stuff. Like people are throwing that shit on eBay. They're trying to get whatever they can for it, which. Don't get me wrong, like, depending on the player, I might have done it too. Like, I mean, I remember I went to a game years and years ago. Dwight Howard was playing against the Bucks, and the dude literally stripped down to nothing but, like, his Under Armour tank top and, like, his boxer briefs. Like, he gave away, in an away team, an away game, he gave away all his stuff, his shoes, socks, like, not that I would want Dwight Howard's sock, but, like, maybe that's valuable to somebody. I don't know. But, like, I feel like people are just, like, pawning those things off. So, I mean, would you be excited to give away an autograph if you knew that someone was just going to turn around and just make money off of it. Like that's kind of shitty. That's kind of shitty, right? Like not saying that that's the case exclusively, but I feel it happens more often than not. You wouldn't hear it talked about as much if it didn't happen that often. Especially in college. Like why would there be a concern of people selling autographed memorabilia if they weren't selling autographed memorabilia, right? Boom.
Yeah, fair enough.
Boom.
Clearly could take us down a whole different segue if we
wanted. It could. But I down to the base of your argument, I agree. Get the kiddos involved. Make it more appealing. Get the wiffle balls out. Let's go. All right. I can't even do speaking of wiffle balls because the clip of the week is Kevin Durant, who I have to say, it was hard for me to be a KD fan when he went to the Warriors. I get ring chasing. I get, build up your legacy, but the guy's a phenomenal player on his own. I know that he realized that he couldn't do it on his own. So, I mean, the Thunder lost to the Warriors, 2 years in a row? And so basically he was just like, well, if you can't beat him, literally join them. And it worked out pretty damn well. I loved watching it. I loved watching him since he was at Texas, though. It's weird that he has the same exact frame. Very tall, wiry.
Yeah.
But it's kind of weird.
That is a great point. He hasn't really
like Giannis when he was first drafted, they probably looked pretty similar. About 6'10-ish, very gaunt, gangly, raw. Giannis has just been packing on muscle, whereas KD's just like, I'm just gonna shoot better than everybody, and it won't matter.
With this reach, nobody's gonna block it anyways. It doesn't matter.
Who are you gonna put on him? They had Drew Holiday on him for, I don't know. It wasn't a lot. I know they rotated quite a bit, but Drew is on him, and it's he's 6'3", KD's 6'10". It worked sometimes, but most of the time you're just like, what's going on?
And the weight difference is less than 5 pounds, I bet.
Probably. Holiday's pretty big, bro. I don't know. But so the clip of the week is the post-game presser of KD, who obviously is incredibly dejected, obviously had his whole seasons of hope stashed. The threat of the super team is no more. So I was kind of worried that he would be kind of shitty, but he very good sport, and kind of like you were alluding to, and we've been talking about for a bit. This is part of the story of how that series is how the Nets lost and not how the Bucks won, because the Nets, Brooklyn, New York, bigger market team, more stories, more clicks, more revenue, whereas the Bucks, it's Milwaukee, whatever. So let's give that a listen.
Hey Kevin, curious. You guys were logging a lot of minutes to stay in this game and put yourselves in position to win. How much do you think that workload played a role in, I think, 1 of 12 in shooting in overtime? Is that a matter of fatigue or something else other than that?
You got to give credit to the Milwaukee Bucks. They're a great team who got a good chance to win a championship. And the story should be about them and how well they played this series, how well they played all year. We got good looks there in overtime. We just didn't knock them down. But respect to the Milwaukee Bucks and how they prepare, how they challenged us all series, made adjustments all series. We got nothing but respect for this ball club.
Man, I mean, it's got to be hard. I can't imagine all that. I mean, not to mention the dude is exhausted. Literally played every minute of every game. Played, I think it was 97% of the minutes of the last 3 games. Just crazy amount of effort put forth just to come short. At home, they were at home. This didn't happen in Milwaukee. This happened in Brooklyn. And to still have the awareness and peace of mind to still put forth the sportsmanship. That's pretty impressive. I mean, like I said, I've never been super against him. I thought it was kind of snaky to join the Warriors, but that's respect though. That's impressive.
He was genuine, which a lot of times. Especially with the media, you really don't get much out of him, and so that was he had some candid answers, and the fact that he had to make notice, because the question he asked him was completely directed at the Nets and just whatever, all that, and I love how he just switched it completely. All credit goes to the Bucks. It was nice to hear.
Very refreshing, and I tried to listen as much as I could to all the post game stuff, and they really didn't talk about the Bucks so much. I mean. They had a nice little interview, I think, of Chris for a little bit, but yeah, it was.
Yeah.
That's just how it is, though. I mean, you get used to it. And honestly, like sometimes I kind of prefer it because having Rodgers in the headlines every effing day, not what I want. Which leads us to our next topic. The likelihood of Rodgers not returning or returning and the impact. I mean, if I'm going to be completely just blunt, he has to come back. He has to come back.
Okay.
He has to come back. The circumstances.
If you're going to change your thought, because you mentioned earlier he's coming back, and I think we both agree he'll come back this year.
It's just the problem is now the circumstances have changed since we talked about this last. I think the team dynamic has shifted a little bit too. Obviously, the media twisting everybody else's thoughts and opinions on it has been, I'll say, crystallizing because it started and it's just building from where it began.
What do you mean by the team?
Well, there have been like some comments from the president, Mark Murphy, that have been, I don't even want to say taken out of context. It was just a stupid thing to say. But those things notwithstanding, financially it would be borderline impossible for them to deal him. I know that people are like, oh, just give him more first round picks. Like that doesn't matter against the cap. Like this is his biggest cap hit this year.
This year, yes, correct.
Literally, this is what I was saying. Like I anticipated there being an issue next year because next year his actual salary hit is not that bad. It's not great, but like it's much more manageable than this. So
if I'm looking 38 mil or about 37 against the cap hit, and next year it drops to 17, I think.
Yes.
Of dead cap space.
Correct. So and the cap hit itself adjusts a little bit, but like, I mean, he's already starting to forfeit bonuses now. So I mean, not that $500,000 is a big deal to him, but like, I don't know. At this point, it's like. I feel like even if there wasn't a huge rift, I feel like between what's happened with the media and just him being generally disinterested in fixing things, I feel like now it's to the point where it's like even I'm turning my head, and I've thought it's been BS since the beginning. So that's why I'm starting to get concerned. But like, I don't know.
To me, there's only two choices. It's what you said. You either play this year or you retire. They're not getting rid of him. It's absolutely stupid. It would be absolutely stupid. No other team. I mean, maybe the Broncos, they've floated around. Maybe.
Sure. But like the thing is, it's like the team, the product on the field, I think it's worth gambling. Like if you're going to force him to retire, then I mean, it's a shitty situation, but we've already, like, don't get me wrong, like when Favre retired, like I was bawling. Like I was not doing well. I was at my ex's house at the time. Like I was like I gotta go. Like I can't sit here and watch this. Like I'm done. Like I was in a bad place. So I mean to have a similar situation rear its ugly head, like it's, I don't know. There's a good bit of denial, but like it's just like it was unsubstantiated. It was just facts that have been accumulating for over the course of the last year. So there wasn't anything of him like actually saying like, oh, this is bullshit. Like no, like I understand like it sucks, but like dude literally just won the MVP award, right? Mm-hmm. Like literally just did it. So
and all like you said, all the front office has to do is just keep their freaking mouth shut, keep everything internal, let the media spin crap how they are, whatever the case may be. But judging by the information that's come out, it almost seems like there's a leak on both sides. There's representatives, it seems like, on both parties that are feeding the media information. And it's disgusting. Like, I hate talking about this all the time because at the end of the day, it doesn't affect my life all that much. I mean, yeah, the Packers, well, it does in a way. Maybe it's,
the podcast goes, if Rodgers goes, I'm out. Like, it does affect you. It does affect you.
Yeah, you're right. I think the Vikings are easily the number one seed in the division if Rodgers doesn't play. But
it does affect you.
It does affect me. Damn it.
Sure, but I think overall, I mean, yeah, I think there's also it's got to be his agent, right? Like, I don't know how else. I know that there was those Instagram posts when he was in Hawaii and. The dude he was with got mugged and punched out, and so there's some stuff about that. But like, there's no one. I don't think anyone on the team, even though he has a lot of close friends on the team, they're not saying like Bakhtiari's not going to say anything.
Yeah.
Adams
true.
isn't going to say anything.
Yep.
Mercedes Lewis is definitely not going to say anything because he never says anything. So his closest friends on the team are not doing anything. So I want to say it's David Dunn, his agent, leaking this stuff. But
Why? But what motivation? Because I thought I saw that that's the same
It's
agent
Jordan
that Jordan
Love.
Love. Yeah.
correct.
So what?
Correct.
I mean, what benefit does that have?
Because
at
if
all?
Rodgers gets a nice, super generous restructuring, he gets his percentage.
Yeah.
And it's not like Love's not going to start at some point. I mean, Rodgers, God willing, he plays out at least the rest of his contract here, but Rodgers is 37. Like, there's a time limit on this. I know Tom Brady has set everyone's expectation that quarterbacks can play until, they're 65, but it's not realistic,
One injury, especially at that age, one injury.
Yeah, so
Or
I think
whatever.
I think that I think this is a pretty rough time, and the thing is, it's like, when's the cutoff? Like, everyone's like, oh, right after June he's gonna get traded, and then and I was like, okay, all right, June 3rd.
Nobody knows the timeline.
No,
Nobody...
no one has an idea. It's like people who try to gimmick the stock market. Like, you're not. Yeah, I'm not trying
That's a
to.
great point.
It's like they think they can beat it. You think you can understand it. You don't understand it at all. Like, there's no timeline for this. I mean, obviously the one that comes to mind most, it's like, okay, like, when's the next like mandatory team whatever? When is actual training camp? When is preseason? Those are like unofficial markers, but there's no one saying that those are like what's actually going to be decided. So
yeah,
it's painful. As a fan, I'm excited that the rest of the roster is fairly strong. So God forbid we do have to move on, but like I'd say you gamble and you kind of put him in that position because I don't know the logistics of trading him and how beneficial that could be. Because I've seen our draft picks in the first round. I mean, with Gutekunst, they've been pretty good, but it's hard to make me forget. 12 years. I think in 12 years we took a defensive player in the first round 11 of those years, and our defense is still.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like it's hard to break that trend in my mind as a fan. I've been watching it go one way. It's like if you say, "Oh, we'll get 3 first-round picks," it's like, okay, so maybe we get one starter out of that. Like, that's not worth Rodgers. Like, what are you talking about?
Correct. Yeah.
Even like a rental, 1 year of Rodgers. Like, you saw what he did last year with MVS dropping like 4 or 5 touchdowns. Playoffs included, he dropped another one. Lazard is a practice squad receiver on any other team. Like, I love his grit and determination, but he just does not have the athleticism or the skill set, really. Like, he's a great possession receiver, but he's not gonna blow up a secondary for 150 yards and a touchdown. So
I'm just hoping that by the time we stay on our promise to actually visit training camp, that he'll be in number 12, back there with the nice little red penny. That would be so awesome for all you Packer fans.
We need it. We need it.
Yeah.
Whew. I mean, I mean, what am I gonna do otherwise? Am I gonna get my Jordan Love jersey and?
No.
I could.
Realistically, what do you think of Jordan Love's chances to even start? Like, because we drafted Kellen Mond, the Vikings, and obviously rumors here that potentially he replaces Cousins after his contract. But I mean, you don't know how they're going to learn the system, and it seems like Love's progress is.
I mean, Jordan Love's progress is against people without pads. Like he literally did not put on a jersey or throw a football at all last year. He was deactivated the entire year last year. He didn't have a preseason or an off season before when he was drafted because of COVID. Didn't play during the regular season, and so now this is his chance. Like, he's playing with the first team O, and like these are the reps. But it's like there's so many question marks that I can't even answer that. There's like 100 reasons why I can't answer that. All I can tell you as a fan, the offseason's the best time to hit that reset button and forget all the pain that happened the last season and get your hopes up.
God,
that's what being a fan's about. You get hurt, you deal with it, and then you get just enough confidence to be ready to get hurt again. That's fandom.
You got the Bucks that literally are like Eastern Conference Finals, and then it's Rodgers. It's like complete. such joy and then such weird like division amongst the fan base.
And that's why I'm leaving town and I'm getting drunk this weekend, Ace. That's the plan.
Yay!
We forget it all. All right. That is our episode. Thank you all so much for listening. Ace, thank you for regaling us your tales of your wedding last weekend.
I could. Should I tell a quick little? No, I can't. I can't bury him. I'm not.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, I won't. Okay.
No slander on the show. No slander on the show. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. Check us out. And definitely, if you get a chance, feel free, rate, review, like, subscribe, send it to a friend, send it to your grandma. We don't care. As many listeners as we can get, we love to reach everybody. Because, I mean, if Rodgers doesn't come back, we're going to need every listener we can get to help. I'm going to need my own support team, basically. It's going to be rough. Enjoy the weekend. Be safe. Get ready for the 4th. Make some fun plans. Go outside. Have fun. No more COVID. Love you guys. See ya.
That's the show for this week. Check out Armchair Analyst on Twitter at AA Podcasts, on YouTube, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. If this wasn't enough, be sure to check out armchairpodcast.com for more. See you next week.